Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Ready to get our hands dirty? Today, it's all about lean maintenance.
Yeah, but not just what it is.
We're going way beyond that.
We're going to look at how it works and
Why you should really care. I've got a
absolutely.
ton of great sources here, all about making your maintenance operations like
Yeah.
smooth, like a well-oiled machine.
Pun intended.
You bet.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, you're probably already familiar with the basics.
At least somewhat.
But you want to know how to really make it happen, right?
Exactly.
How to put these principles into practice.
And get results.
Yeah. And one of the most interesting things we found in the research
At least to me.
was this idea that waste in maintenance isn't always so obvious.
It's true. You don't always see it right away.
Right. We usually think about wasted materials.
Scrap and all that.
Exactly. But in maintenance, it's often something else.
It can be a lot of things.
Like what?
Well, think about the time a technician has to run all over the facility because they don't have the right tool.
Or the part.
Exactly. That's wasted time and effort.
And frustration.
For
And
sure.
lean maintenance helps you pinpoint that and get rid of it.
That's the goal, to spot those inefficiencies and eliminate them.
I like it. Okay, so that's waste elimination. But there's this other concept we found fascinating.
Focusing on the customer.
Right. Now that sounds a little strange, doesn't it? Customer in maintenance.
It does, but it's really about changing your perspective.
How so?
Well, the customer here is really the operational side of your business.
The folks who rely on those machines running smoothly.
Exactly. It's about realizing that good maintenance isn't just about fixing things.
It's about enabling the entire operation to function at its best.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. And then the third pillar, quality generated at the source.
Do it right the first time.
This seems particularly important in maintenance, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. One of the sources really dug into this idea of accountability.
Among technicians.
Yeah, it's not just checking a box.
It's about taking ownership of the quality of the work.
Exactly. And how do you do that? Well, they suggested things like peer reviews,
Okay.
regular training, even feedback from the operators who actually use the equipment.
Interesting. So get the operators involved,
Absolutely.
because at the end of the day, it's about everyone working together to keep things running.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, these three principles, they're the foundation.
The bedrock.
But our sources also went into some really practical ways to actually make it work.
Right. They highlight these supporting concepts.
Ah.
And one that really grabbed my attention was this idea that everyone's responsible for upholding the lean philosophy.
Not just management.
Exactly. It's about giving everyone the power to identify waste, suggest improvements, and really contribute to this culture of always getting better.
I love that moving away from that's not my job and embracing this idea that everyone has a role to play.
Totally.
But how do you actually make that happen in the real world?
It's got to be more than just motivational posters.
Right.
Well, one source suggested actually integrating lean thinking into performance reviews.
Okay, interesting.
Recognize and reward employees who are really going above and beyond to cut waste and improve processes.
I like that. And what about actually getting ideas from the technicians?
Oh, that's crucial.
They're the ones on the front lines.
Absolutely. One source suggested setting up a system for collecting and implementing those suggestions.
Car.
Get that frontline feedback and actually put it to work.
It seems like lean maintenance isn't just about having the right tools and processes.
It's bigger than that.
It's about creating a culture
A mindset.
that everyone buys into.
It's got to permeate the whole organization.
But culture change, that takes,
Time and effort.
for sure.
It's a process.
It is. And our sources, they emphasize that lean maintenance, like any big change,
It needs a strategic approach,
a roadmap.
a plan for success.
And that roadmap starts with setting clear goals.
Definitely.
But we're not talking about vague aspirations here.
No. Got to be
Yeah.
specific.
Our sources were adamant about the need for,
Measurable targets.
give me an example.
They had a great one, reducing overtime hours.
Okay.
Instead of just saying we want to reduce overtime, you set a target.
Like 15% reduction?
In the next quarter, exactly. That gives you a benchmark to track your progress and actually see the impact of your lean efforts.
I like that concrete target.
Keeps everyone focused.
Motivated too, right?
Absolutely.
Speaking of motivation, our sources also touched on this sometimes,
Rocky relationship.
between operations and maintenance.
Yeah, they don't always see eye to eye.
So how does lean address that?
Well, lean maintenance encourages a big shift from adversaries to partners.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does that partnership actually work? What does that look like day to day?
One source called it a two-way responsibility.
Two-way.
They gave the example of operators taking on some basic maintenance tasks.
Like what?
Cleaning, lubricating, even doing routine inspections.
So it's about blurring the lines a bit,
Yeah.
empowering operators to take ownership of the equipment.
Exactly, and it goes both ways.
Meaning,
Maintenance personnel could be more involved in the design and modification of equipment.
to make sure it's built with maintainability in mind.
Right on. It's all about sharing a responsibility for keeping those machines running.
This is fascinating. It sounds like lean maintenance is really about breaking down those walls and building a real team spirit.
That's a big part of it.
But tell me more about this two-way responsibility. How does that actually play out? Give me a concrete example.
Okay, imagine an operator notices a slight vibration in a machine.
Okay.
Instead of ignoring it or waiting for maintenance to come around on their schedule,
They take action,
right, they report it immediately.
or even do a quick visual inspection.
That kind of early intervention can prevent a minor issue from becoming a major breakdown.
That's smart. Catching those small problems early can save a lot of headaches down the road.
Exactly.
But how do you make sure operators are equipped to handle these extra responsibilities?
Training is key.
Of course.
Cross-training, actually.
What do you mean?
Operators can be trained on basic maintenance procedures, and maintenance technicians can learn more about the operational side.
So they understand each other's worlds better.
Exactly. This shared knowledge and skill set creates a much more collaborative and proactive maintenance environment.
It seems like we're talking about a pretty big cultural shift.
It is a new way of thinking.
But this emphasis on collaboration and shared responsibility, is there a more formal framework for implementing that within lean maintenance?
There is. It's called Total Productive Maintenance, or TPM.
TPM.
And it's often described as the lean mandated marriage.
For marriage, it's a strong image. Why is this marriage so important?
Because TPM takes this idea of operator involvement to a whole new level.
Okay, how so?
It's about maximizing equipment effectiveness by empowering operators to play a much more active role in maintenance.
So it's like a real partnership.
Exactly. Operators and maintenance technicians working together to keep everything in tip-top shape.
I'm starting to see how this marriage could lead to a much healthier and productive relationship between operations and maintenance.
Absolutely.
But what does it look like in practice? How does TPM actually work?
Okay, one of our sources breaks TPM down into 6 key activities. And one that's really relevant for our listeners is this idea of autonomous maintenance.
Okay, what's that?
This is where operators really take ownership of routine maintenance tasks,
Like what?
cleaning, lubricating, inspecting their equipment.
So they're not just waiting for maintenance to come around.
Exactly. They're proactive and involved.
I like that it empowers operators and frees up maintenance technicians to focus on the more complex stuff.
Right on.
But how do you make sure operators are properly trained and equipped for these responsibilities?
That's where the marriage comes in.
Okay,
Maintenance technicians would play a key role in training operators on those procedures.
makes sense.
They'd also be responsible for developing checklists and work instructions.
We ensure consistency and quality.
Exactly. It's a true partnership.
This TPM approach, it really fosters a sense of shared ownership and responsibility for keeping equipment running smoothly.
It does.
But I'm curious, does TPM focus solely on preventive maintenance, or does it go beyond that?
It goes much deeper.
How so?
Another key activity is focused improvement.
Meaning?
Cross-functional teams working together to identify and address the root causes of equipment failures.
So it's not just about preventing breakdowns.
No, it's about continuously improving the reliability and performance of the equipment.
Getting to the root of the problem.
Right. And that often involves analyzing data, conducting root cause analysis, and implementing solutions that address the underlying issues, not just the symptoms.
It sounds like TPM is a really powerful tool for driving continuous improvement and achieving what our sources called reliability excellence.
It is.
But tell me, how do you get started with TPM? Where do you even begin?
One source really emphasized starting with a pilot project.
Okay.
Choose a piece of equipment that's really critical to your operation, and put together a small, dedicated team of operators and maintenance technicians.
Start small, get a win under your belt, and then build from there.
Precisely, the success of that pilot project can then be used to demonstrate the value of TPM and get everyone excited about rolling it out more widely.
That's a great strategy, but I imagine there are some potential pitfalls to avoid
Oh, for sure.
when implementing TPM right.
Absolutely. One common mistake is trying to do too much too soon.
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Exactly. TPM is a journey, not a sprint.
Okay, what else?
Another pitfall is lack of management support.
They got to be on board.
Absolutely. TPM requires a commitment from leadership to provide the necessary resources and empower employees to embrace the change.
Those are excellent points. It's so important to have that support from the top and to approach implementation strategically and in a measured way.
Agreed.
So we've talked about the core principles of lean maintenance, the importance of setting clear, measurable goals, the partnership between operations and maintenance, and the power of TPM.
A lot of ground covered.
It feels like it. But our sources also introduced something called the excellence model. What's that all about?
Think of it as a roadmap for achieving your lean maintenance goals.
Okay.
A 5-phase journey towards reliability excellence.
5 phases. That sounds pretty comprehensive. What's the first step on this journey?
The first phase is all about laying the foundation, defining those core principles and values that will guide your lean maintenance efforts.
So it's about creating a shared understanding of what lean maintenance is and why it's important.
Exactly, getting everyone on the same page and building buy-in from the ground up.
Okay, so that's phase 1. What comes next? How do you actually start putting those principles into practice?
That's where phase 2 comes in, building the culture itself.
What does that mean?
It's about creating an environment that supports and rewards proactive maintenance practices.
So phases 1 and 2 are all about setting the stage for a sustainable cultural shift.
Right, laying the groundwork for success.
But what about actually putting it all into action?
That's phase 3 action time.
This is where things get real.
Exactly. This is where you develop specific procedures, train your teams, and start putting those lean principles into practice.
So this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. What about phase 4?
Phase 4 is optimization.
Optimization of what?
Of your processes, you're continuously refining them, looking for ways to improve efficiency, eliminate waste, and maximize equipment reliability.
So it's about making lean maintenance a way of life, not just a one-time project.
Exactly. It's a continuous journey.
Always striving for better. And finally, we reach phase 5 excellence.
Yes. This is the ultimate goal, achieving a sustained level of high performance where reliability excellence is embedded in your organization's DNA.
Reliability excellence. That sounds like the holy grail of lean maintenance.
Is the pinnacle.
But our sources also mentioned something called the plant partnership excellence model. How does that fit in? Is it related to these 5 phases?
It is. Think of it as a more detailed framework for implementing the excellence model within a specific facility.
Okay, I'm following. What are the key elements of this model?
It starts with a comprehensive status assessment to understand the current state of your maintenance operations.
So you know where you're starting from.
Exactly. Then you establish the governing principles and concepts that we've already discussed.
Right, that's the foundation.
Yet you define your objectives, goals, and targets.
What you want to achieve.
Precisely.
And then you create a master plan and off you go, right?
Not quite. There's another crucial element to this model, and that's collaboration.
Ah, so it's not just the maintenance department's responsibility to achieve reliability excellence.
Nope. Everyone's got to be involved.
It takes a village.
Right. This model emphasizes the need for collaboration between maintenance operations, engineering, even upper management.
Everyone working together.
To achieve sustained success.
It sounds like lean maintenance really fosters a culture of shared ownership and responsibility.
It does, and that's one of the things that makes it so effective.
Well, that's a lot to think about. And we've only just scratched the surface of lean maintenance. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the practical applications of these principles.
We'll be exploring specific techniques, tools, and strategies you can use to transform your maintenance operations and achieve reliability excellence in your facility.
Welcome back to our deep dive into lean maintenance. Last time we talked about the big picture, the principles, the cultural shift, and the journey towards reliability excellence.
The foundation.
Exactly. But now let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
The practical stuff.
How do we actually make this work in the real world?
Well, our sources gave us some really compelling examples of how lean maintenance can completely change your approach.
I'm all ears.
Remember those 2 maintenance crews we talked about?
The reactive one and the proactive one.
Exactly. One's always putting out fires.
Running around like crazy.
While the other one is carefully planning and scheduling their work.
Right, and the planned crew was so much more efficient.
Night and...
It was a real eye-opener for me, seeing how much time and energy gets wasted when you're always in that firefighting mode.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious, did the source actually measure the impact of planning? Like, what were the actual results?
Oh, they did, and the numbers are pretty impressive.
Okay, I'm ready.
According to their data, planned maintenance resulted in a 77% improvement in labor efficiency.
Whoa, 77%. That's almost hard to believe.
It's a huge difference.
It is. What are the key factors that lead to such a dramatic improvement?
Well, the source broke it down into a few key areas.
Yeah.
First, planning creates a more balanced workload for technicians.
Instead of constantly running from one emergency to the next.
Exactly. They have a clear schedule, allowing them to focus on completing tasks efficiently and effectively.
Working smarter, not harder.
Right. And another crucial factor is that planning allows you to make accurate promises about completion times.
So you can tell operations when a job will be finished.
Precisely, which minimizes disruptions and maximizes uptime.
And builds trust.
Absolutely. When you have a well-defined plan, you can confidently tell operations when things will be done.
It's all about setting realistic expectations and delivering on them.
Right.
So what else contributes to these efficiency gains?
Well-planned maintenance leads to better methods and procedures.
Meaning?
Technicians aren't just winging it. They have clear instructions and standardized processes to follow.
So less variability and better quality.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of maintenance.
I like that. A more consistent and reliable process.
And then there's the coordination of materials and equipment.
Making sure you have everything you need when you need it.
Exactly. With a good plan, you can make sure all the parts and tools are at the job site when the technician arrives.
No more running back and forth for parts.
Right. It's about eliminating those wasted trips.
It's amazing how those little improvements can add up to such a big boost in efficiency.
It's the little things.
But it's not just about making the maintenance team's life easier, right?
Absolutely not. The benefits go way beyond the maintenance department.
In what ways?
Well-planned maintenance leads to better service for operations.
How so?
They have more confidence in the reliability of the equipment, and they can plan their production schedules more effectively.
Everything runs more smoothly.
Exactly. And you also get more accurate cost estimates, which helps with budgeting and resource allocation.
So it creates a more predictable and stable environment for the entire operation.
Right. And of course, fewer emergency situations means less stress for everyone.
And who doesn't want less stress?
Exactly. It's a win-win.
For sure. But with all this talk about efficiency and smoother operations, it's important to remember that lean maintenance is ultimately about achieving a higher level of organizational performance.
Couldn't agree more. We're not just talking about making small tweaks here.
It's a fundamental shift.
And how maintenance operates and contributes to the success of the whole organization.
And our sources really drove that point home with this concept of reliability excellence.
That's the ultimate goal.
What exactly does reliability excellence mean?
It's about creating a culture and a set of practices that make equipment reliability the top priority.
And minimize downtime.
Of course, it's about moving beyond just reacting to breakdowns and embracing a proactive preventative approach.
Sounds ambitious.
It is, but it's achievable.
How do you actually get there? Where do you even begin?
That's where the excellence model comes in, remember?
The 5-phase journey.
Exactly. It's your roadmap to reliability excellence.
Okay, 5 phases. I'm ready for a refresher. Where does this journey begin?
Phase 1 is all about laying the foundation, defining those core principles of lean maintenance, the philosophy behind it all.
So getting everyone on the same page about what lean maintenance is and why it matters.
Exactly, and building that buy-in from the ground up.
Okay, foundation laid. What's next?
Phase 2, building the culture.
Okay, so creating an environment that actually supports those lean practices.
Right, and rewards them.
So these first 2 phases are really about changing mindsets, breaking old habits, and establishing new ways of working.
Exactly, shifting from that reactive fix-it-when-it-breaks mentality to a proactive prevent-it-from-breaking approach.
Got it. So once you have that cultural foundation in place, you can start putting it all into action right.
Absolutely. Phase 3 is all about implementation.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. You develop specific procedures, train your teams, and start putting those lean principles into practice.
So you're moving from theory to action.
And measurable results.
I bet this phase can be pretty challenging. What are some key things to keep in mind?
Communication is key.
Of course.
Make sure everyone understands the goals and how their role contributes to achieving them.
What else?
Start small.
Don't try to do everything at once.
Exactly. Pick some pilot projects that will clearly demonstrate the value of lean, build some momentum, and then scale up gradually.
Smart approach. What about phase 4?
Phase 4 is all about optimization, continuous improvement.
Always getting better.
Precisely. You're constantly refining your processes, looking for ways to eliminate waste, improve efficiency, and maximize equipment reliability.
It's like lean maintenance becomes a habit.
It's embedded in everything you do.
It's not just a project. It's a way of life.
Exactly.
But how do you know what to optimize? How do you identify those areas for improvement?
Data is your friend.
Of course.
Track your key performance indicators, analyze your maintenance records, get feedback from your team.
Use that information to figure out where you can make the biggest impact.
Precisely.
Data-driven decisions.
Absolutely.
Okay, and finally we reach phase 5. Excellence.
The pinnacle.
What does that actually look like?
This is the culmination of all your efforts achieving reliability excellence.
It's no longer a project, it's just how things are done.
Exactly. Your team is empowered and engaged.
Yeah.
Your processes are streamlined and efficient, and your equipment is running smoothly and reliably.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
But let's be realistic. Achieving reliability excellence takes time, effort, and a lot of hard work.
It does, but our sources emphasize that it's not just about the destination.
It's about the journey.
Exactly. Even if you don't reach perfection, the process of implementing lean maintenance will bring significant benefits to your organization.
That's encouraging to hear.
It's about continuous improvement, always striving to get better, even if you don't achieve excellence overnight.
I like that. But our sources also talked about something called the Plant Partnership Excellence Model. Is this related to these 5 phases?
It is. Think of it as a more detailed framework for implementing the excellence model within a specific facility.
Okay, so it's like a more specific roadmap tailored to the needs of a particular plant.
Exactly.
What are the key components of this model?
It starts with a comprehensive status assessment.
To understand where you're at.
Right. You gather data, interview key personnel observed processes to get a clear picture of your strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement.
Like a diagnostic checkup for your maintenance operation.
Precisely. And once you understand your current state, you can start to establish those governing principles and concepts that will guide your lean maintenance efforts.
Waste elimination, customer-focused quality at the source.
Exactly. Then you move on to defining your objectives, goals, and targets.
What you want to achieve with lean maintenance.
Right. What are your specific measurable goals for improving efficiency, reducing downtime, and maximizing equipment reliability?
So you know where you're headed.
Precisely. And finally, you develop a master plan that outlines the specific steps you'll take to achieve those goals.
A roadmap for success.
Exactly.
It sounds like a well-structured and comprehensive approach.
It is.
But there's one crucial element we talked about earlier that I want to circle back to: collaboration.
Ah, yes.
This model really emphasizes that achieving reliability excellence is a team effort.
It is. You can't do alone.
It's about breaking down those silos between departments.
Maintenance, operations, engineering.
Everyone working together.
Towards that common goal of maximizing equipment reliability.
So lean maintenance really fosters a culture of shared ownership and responsibility.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that makes it so powerful.
We've covered a lot of ground in this episode.
It feels like it.
We've explored the practical benefits of lean maintenance, the roadmap to reliability excellence, and the importance of collaboration.
And we're not done yet.
There's more.
Join us next time as we delve into the specific processes and tools that can help you actually implement lean maintenance and transform your operations.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into lean maintenance.
The grand finale.
We've spent the last 2 episodes building up to this, talking about the principles, the culture, the journey to reliability excellence.
Big picture stuff.
Exactly. But now it's time to roll up our sleeves and get into the nuts and bolts.
Let's get practical.
How does all of this actually work in the real world?
Well, our sources really dug into the specific systems and processes that make lean maintenance tick.
Okay, give me the rundown.
One that's absolutely crucial is work control.
Work control sounds pretty basic. Is it just about managing work orders?
It's more than that. Think of work control as the central nervous system of your entire maintenance operation. It's about making sure every single maintenance activity is planned, scheduled, executed, and documented in a really systematic way.
So nothing falls through the cracks.
Exactly. It includes everything from how you receive and prioritize work requests to tracking labor materials and costs.
That was pretty comprehensive.
It is. It's about bringing order and structure to what can often be a very chaotic environment.
Taming the chaos.
Right. And that structure is essential for eliminating waste, improving efficiency, and making sure everything maintenance does aligns with the organization's goals.
Okay, I'm starting to see how work control sets the stage for a more proactive and efficient operation.
It's the foundation.
What are some of the key elements of a really effective work control system?
One of our sources really stressed the importance of clear work order procedures.
Like what?
Using standardized forms, having clear approval processes, and making sure all the necessary information is on the work order.
So everyone's on the same page.
Right, things like a clear description of the problem, the location of the equipment, the materials needed.
No more scribbled notes on the back of a napkin.
Hopefully not. Another crucial aspect is prioritization.
Right. Not all maintenance tasks are created equal.
Exactly, some are more urgent than others.
So how do you decide what to tackle first?
A good work control system helps you prioritize based on factors like safety,
Makes sense.
equipment criticality, and impact on production.
So you focus your resources where they'll have the biggest impact.
Precisely. But once you've got those priorities figured out, how do you make sure the work is scheduled and executed efficiently?
That's a good question.
That's where scheduling comes in, another key process our sources talked about.
Okay, so how do you schedule effectively?
It's all about coordinating resources, labor, and materials to minimize downtime and make sure those maintenance activities are done on time.
I can imagine that gets pretty complicated, especially in a big facility with tons of equipment and a whole team of technicians.
It can be a juggling act.
How do you keep track of everything?
Technology can be a huge help.
In what way?
A lot of organizations use what's called a computerized maintenance management system.
A CMMS.
Exactly, to support their scheduling processes.
And what can a CMMS do?
A CMMS can help you track work orders, schedule preventative maintenance, manage technician availability, even optimize resource allocation.
Wow, it's like having a brain for your maintenance operation.
You can be a really powerful tool.
But even with the best software, you still need skilled technicians to actually do the work.
You're absolutely right, and that's where the concept of operator care comes in.
Operator care.
Remember how we talked about blurring the lines between traditional roles?
Right, empowering operators to do some basic maintenance tasks.
Operator care takes that idea even further
How so?
by giving operators even more ownership of those tasks.
Like what?
One source suggested having operators do routine inspections of their equipment.
Checking for things like loose bolts, leaks, strange noises.
Exactly. They can also handle basic cleaning and lubrication.
So operators become the first line of defense,
Right, they're empowered to spot potential problems early on.
which can prevent bigger issues down the line.
Absolutely. But how do you make sure those operators are trained and ready to take on these extra responsibilities?
That's a good point.
Training is key.
Makes sense.
Operators need clear instructions on how to inspect, clean, and lubricate their equipment.
And they need to know what to do if they spot a problem.
Exactly. They need to understand the importance of reporting any abnormalities to the maintenance team right away.
So operator care not only makes things more efficient, but it also gives operators a sense of ownership.
They're not just running the machines, they're helping to keep them running smoothly.
I like that. Are there other processes that are important for lean maintenance success?
Oh, there are several.
Like what?
One is equipment and failure design.
That sounds interesting.
It's all about designing equipment and systems for reliability and maintainability right from the start.
So you're thinking about maintenance before the equipment even hits the factory floor.
Exactly. If you design equipment that's easy to access, inspect, and repair, it will save you a lot of headaches down the road.
Proactive thinking.
And then there's the big one.
Preventative maintenance.
Of course, it's all about preventing breakdowns and extending the life of your equipment.
The classic ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure approach.
Exactly, but I know what you're thinking.
Preventive maintenance can be time-consuming and expensive.
It can be.
So how do you know what tasks are really necessary?
That's where data comes in again.
Data seems to be a recurring theme here.
It is. By tracking equipment failures, identifying patterns, and analyzing maintenance records, you can develop a preventative maintenance program that's really tailored to your specific needs.
No more guessing games.
Right? You're using data to make informed decisions about what to do and when to do it.
Smart approach. What other processes are important in a lean maintenance environment?
Well, there's procurement, which is all about getting high-quality parts and materials at the best price.
Makes sense.
And then there's materials management, which focuses on efficient inventory control.
Making sure you have the right parts in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
It's incredible how many moving parts there are in a lean maintenance operation.
It's a holistic approach.
For sure. And speaking of moving parts, our sources really emphasize the importance of technology in supporting lean maintenance,
Technology is key.
especially the role of a CMMS.
A CMMS can be a real game changer
Why is that?
because it can help you track work orders, manage inventory, analyze data, generate reports. It brings all your maintenance information together in one place.
So you can see the big picture.
Exactly. And make data-driven decisions.
So it's more than just a fancy spreadsheet.
Oh, much more. A modern CMMS can automate a lot of your maintenance processes,
Likewise.
things like work order generation and preventive maintenance scheduling. It can also give you valuable insights into equipment performance.
So you can spot potential problems before they become major breakdowns. It sounds like a CMMS is an essential tool for any organization serious about lean maintenance.
I would agree.
But I imagine choosing and implementing a CMMS can be a pretty big undertaking.
It can be.
What advice did our sources have for organizations going down that path?
They really stress the importance of picking a CMMS that fits your specific needs and goals.
Don't just jump on the bandwagon.
Exactly. Take the time to figure out what you need, involve your team in the decision, and choose a system that will really support your lean journey.
Solid advice. But even with the best technology, you still need skilled and motivated people to make it all work.
You can't automate everything.
Right. What did our sources have to say about the role of supervision in lean maintenance?
They highlighted the importance of effective supervision in driving performance and making sure everyone is on board with the lean principles.
So supervisors play a crucial role.
They need to be more than just taskmasters.
Need to be leaders.
Exactly. Coaches, mentors, problem solvers. They need to create a culture of continuous improvement, empower their teams, and provide the support they need to succeed.
So finding and developing those leaders is essential for success.
Absolutely.
What other organizational factors are important?
Our sources talked about the need for a clear organizational structure, one that promotes a proactive mindset.
Okay.
They also emphasize the importance of good job planning work measurement and a relentless focus on eliminating waste at every level of the organization,
It's all about creating a culture of continuous improvement.
where everyone is engaged and empowered to make things better.
Well, it's been fascinating digging into all these systems, processes, and technologies,
A lot to unpack.
but it's clear that lean maintenance is more than just a collection of tools and techniques.
It's a philosophy
A way of thinking.
that you can apply to any part of your organization.
But that's a great point, and it's something our listeners should really think about.
Could you apply these principles of waste elimination, customer focus, and continuous improvement to other departments?
Marketing, sales, even HR.
The possibilities are endless.
That's a fantastic takeaway for our listeners as we wrap up this deep dive into lean maintenance. What would you say is the most important thing for our listeners to remember?
Lean maintenance is a journey, not a destination.
I like that.
It's about continuously striving to improve your processes, eliminate waste, maximize equipment reliability. It's about empowering your team, fostering collaboration, and creating that culture of continuous improvement.
And while reliability excellence is the ultimate goal,
The real value is in the journey itself.
the constant pursuit of better.
Exactly.
Beautifully said. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into lean maintenance.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed it and that you've picked up some valuable insights to take back to your own organizations.
Remember, lean is not just about maintenance. It's a way of thinking that can transform how you approach work in any field.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and never stop striving for excellence.
Until next time, keep diving deep.